Hello everybody, we are in for a treat. Today I am going to review a playthrough I made recently of, if you can't tell, the Age of Empires 2 demo. Now, you might be wondering, why on God's green earth is he reviewing yet another demo? Especially of a game that's been around for 20 years, and I will tell you exactly why. First of all, okay, technically, I was just trying to test out OBS so that I could get a good setting on it, because one of my previous videos kind of was not up to snuff. It was not very good quality. And this is a game that I know. Age of Empires 2 is a game I know and love and have enjoyed playing with friends and competitively for years. I'm not very good at it, but I can tell you this, I'm miles ahead of the AI in this version, which is not surprising considering how much has changed over the past 20 years. But the other reason that I wanted to... This was originally only supposed to be just a test, but the reason I wanted to play it for you guys and to narrate over it is because, well, it's kind of a trip. It takes you back to the past. If you're a hardcore Age of Empires fan, it contains some small but really significant differences that make it very fascinating to play. And I'll go through them. There aren't many of them, but I'll show you them sooner or later when they come up. But first, I think it worth the trouble to explain the map and what's going on here. So you probably saw in the intro that I was just going through a couple of the things that you can do in the demo, and they show that you can't actually play a random map. But you can play their trial coastal map, which has 3... Okay, before I get to that, one thing that I was worried about, I wanted to know what the hotkeys were, because they are different. This is one of the things that's different. The hotkeys are all different, and I couldn't figure out how to get my villagers to build certain buildings, so I ended up just using the mouse for that. Anyway, this map is the Trial Coastal map that came with the Age of Empires, Age of Kings, not the Conquerors, the Age of Kings demo. And it comes with 3 civilizations, 2 Britons civilizations, and a Celts civilization. It also comes with the entire William Wallace learning campaign, too. But of particular import here is the fact that you get to play Britons. You can play up until the Castle Age. You can build everything that the Britons can, or in the campaign that the Celts can, in the Castle Age. You can only play as the Britons in this scenario. It has a population limit of 75, like all of the scenarios in the Age of Kings, and it has a couple of features that are unique, apparently, to really early versions of Age of Empires to the Age of Kings. You won't find them in the Conquerors, not the CD version, and not the HD version, and you won't find them in the expansions. This is before it got balanced, I think. So, but the things that we've learned about the meta, you'll see that I'm hunting the boar earlier than you would have 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you probably would have gone for the berry bushes after you did the sheep, and you probably would have gone for hunting later. I think the original intention was to make boar and deer to be kind of something that you gather in order to get to the Dark Age, or that you kind of just get as a catch-all that you get all at once. It wasn't supposed... You aren't supposed to force drop food from the boar and all that. I think that's why the gods were given the bonus they have, which is they're able to carry more food. Which, in the current meta, is not a particularly useful bonus. Not at all. It's pretty useless. But in the current meta, yeah, you lure the boar close to your town center, right under it ideally, and you force drop food so that you can continue to train villagers, because hunting is the fastest form of food collection. So I'm just playing it like the standard meta of about 2018 or so, the mid to late 2000s. The AI does not do that, and as you will see, I completely quash it. I don't think they were intending to challenge anyone with it.
Yes, correctus. Bulden.
And there I'm going into gold. My intention with this was, I was thinking, what am I going to do as Britons in this game? Because, cavalry, because you have the population limit of 75, I didn't quite remember if it was 75 or not, but I suspected it was, because all of the campaigns were. Because at the time, computers were pretty weak. It was only 1999, I believe? So, computers weren't, you know, fantastic. They were still running Windows 98, I believe. So, and those computers could run with, I believe, 32 megabytes of RAM, which is tiny in comparison to what... Nowadays, you can barely get a computer to function without 1 or 2 gigabytes of RAM. Gigabytes. 1,000 megabytes, so... This particular version, Age of Kings and the Conquerors, can run with 32 megabytes of RAM. That's how lightweight it is, but they were afraid people are not even going to be able to play with the basic settings we have here, so that's why they kept the population limit down. Anyway, what I was wondering to myself is, okay, so population limit's going to be an issue. What is the best way that I can work with such a small population and what's gonna be a weak economy? One's, of course, I get the guy within the palisade so I don't trap him outside. What's the best way to fight Celts and other Britons? And I decided, you know what, I am going to go for archers, because that's just the best way. I'm Britons, I get extra range. That's the same as it's always been. And cavalry are not great with buildings, and Britons aren't exactly an infantry civ either, so you know what, I am going to secure gold, and I am going to build archers and siege weapons. Battering rams in this case. One difference you might know of, by the way, as regards siege in the original Age of Kings, is that you cannot garrison into any siege weapons. I mean, into battering rams. That wasn't really a problem for me, because again, I was using archers, and archers are slow anyway. But, at this time, I was just kind of going for standard meta and thinking, and securing my borders in case the enemy was thinking of doing a raid, which they weren't, not at this point. Trying not to get housed, and I found green over there, which would prove to be very valuable later. Unfortunately, or unfortunately for him, green... Again, the AI is very stupid in the early days. In the early days of Age of Empires, they were very stupid. So, yeah, you'll see the message there. He wants me to be neutral to him. No, that's not how this game works. No. We play for keeps in this game. Allies are for the weak in Age of Empires 2. So, no. Just... Although, I did just to keep some pressure off me so I could win the game a little quicker, I did set him to neutral for a bit. But just because you was stupid enough to think that I would actually... And you'll see that that comes back to bite him in the butt later on. So yeah, at this point I decided, yep, I do want to go for archers because that's the only sensible thing to do is Britons. Well, it's not the only sensible thing. I guess you could... Okay, yeah, and here I... Yeah, no, I didn't go for it yet, but... I'm beginning to reorganize my economy so that I can support archers. Archers are a classic feudal age rush choice. I wasn't going for a rush at this point, but I figured I'd start preparing now. And the way to prepare is by building up a military, and a military of archers. The other good thing about archers, especially in this game, is unless you're fighting under a tower or a town center or a castle, you can kill pretty much anything that's coming your way. You can, if you have enough archers. You don't need to let your soldiers get wounded so that they need to garrison in anything or need a monk. No, archers are a very clean way of dealing with things, which is why the Romans actually kind of considered, if I recall correctly, yeah, they considered archery to be kind of cowardly. They did not like archers. They thought war is meant to be fought hand to hand, and that's honorable. But they still had archers on occasion. Certainly hunting, you know, archery and all that. You still needed it for. They weren't crazy. But I just went for a fast castle here, so that I could immediately get crossbowmen. I increased my gold flow, and you'll just see I'm going to begin pumping out archers. The enemy has not made a move yet, and it's 10 minutes into the game, so I'm really ahead of the curve. Okay, and you'll see I placed another town center there. Now, you'll note that the stone in my resources did not go down. That is one of the biggest differences. That is one of the weirdest differences in the Age of Empires 2 demo compared to the rest of the franchise. You don't... Town centers in the original Age of Empires only cost wood, but you couldn't garrison into them, and you couldn't shoot arrows from them. You could only train village. They were a totally economic building. But in the Age of Kings, building town centers allows you to kind of have a weak fortress, a weak short-ranged fortress that can take out castle age units anyway. So this thing only costs wood. And they later realized, okay, that's really, we gotta change that. Because they did eventually add on a 100 stone cost to the price of the town center. So 275 wood, 100 stone. 275, 100. But here in the demo, it's just wood. Okay, so I set Richard the Lionheart to neutral, so that he'll leave me alone, more or less. And he thinks I'm going to leave him alone. Like I say, I did... Some hotkeys still worked. I could still press the hotkey for the town center and make villagers from it. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. But being able to build a town center for a minus 100 wood cost and for no stone, that makes it a little less expensive than a mill and a lumber camp, or a mill and a mining camp, or a mining camp and a lumber. It's broken. It makes a town center horribly powerful. Town centers were horribly powerful in the early era of Age of Empires to the Age of Kings.
Chopper.
If you were blessed enough to live and to play in the time before the 1.0C patch of Age of Empires to the Age of Kings, then you might have had the pleasure of seeing on GameSpy or the like. You might have gotten to see games that say no Teutons, Teutons banned, Teutons not allowed. That was because one of the early civilization bonuses for the Teutons was town centers get +5 range. It's diabolical, isn't it? If you've ever heard of the strategy, the all-in strategy called the Persian douche, where you delete your town center and build it next to your enemy. Yeah, that's what Teutons players were being able to do. And you couldn't fight back, because the Teutons player could build out of range of your TC. At least the Persian douche has a chance of being repelled. The Teutons, yeah, that had to be patched. And so did the fact that town centers were only food cost. But it looks like I am finally beginning to take some action. I have about 10 archers there, it looks like, 10 crossbowmen. And oh, poor Richard. He's going to get slaughtered because he is still in feudal age, and he's neutral, and unfortunately, neutral really isn't different from enemy, except for the fact that the AI is stupider, I guess. They think you're not going to attack them, and they don't really care. Their villagers certainly don't, as you will see. Oh, hey, I've still got a good thing going. I've got more population room, so may as well build another one of those really cheap town centers. Right on stone. Not like I need the stone, but hey, why not? I am surprised to see that palisade walls still automatically built, how to put it, until they reach an obstacle, rather than only wherever you click them. I was surprised by that. But playing Farming Simulator, always fun. I was doing this. Why was I doing this? In case I needed something else, I guess. I always liked playing Farming Simulator when I play Age of Empires. I like booming. Maybe it was also to get the tech upgrades too. But I don't need them right now. Certainly not to kill all these villagers, although I probably should have built a university and gotten ballistics for moving targets. Although, if you get in the right spot, it's quite possible to take out whatever you like. Especially seeing as these AI villagers are so stupid. Just back and forth, because I'm not taking this game. No one's taking this game seriously. The AI certainly isn't taking this game seriously, so I'm not. If they're still in feudal and I'm well into Castle Age, yeah, they aren't trying. But I figured I probably want Siege because arrows really suck against buildings. But yeah, this game, this game is going to wind down from this point. It's not going to. I literally just set him to enemy again because, he's so stupid. So I figured, okay, you really need to kick it into gear if this is going to be any fun, so maybe you'll pay attention if I start shooting your villagers and I set you to enemy and don't let up. How's that sound? Well, stupid AI does not garrison its villagers in the town center immediately in this version. So, yeah, you lost a whole bunch of them. I was thinking of... I don't know what I was thinking when I got forging. Because I wasn't planning at this time to get anything but archers. Excuse me. There's something in the air around here. Bug or something. But yeah, I thought it would just, make everything I need to go and kill Vortigern over on the other side of the map, if you look. And being that he's going to be an infantry civ, yeah, that's going to be a piece of cake. Archers versus infantry, yeah, no doubt. Unless you're gods and you've got the Huskarl, yeah, infantry aren't going to survive versus British crossbowmen, even crossbowmen. I was getting a bit bored at this point. You can probably guess because it was so easy. There really is such a thing as a game that is too easy, and yeah, the demo version definitely is that. So I decided, I'm gonna go pick up some relics, get some gold, maybe get a victory by them. Meanwhile, he's just making it so easy to just pick off his economy, because 10 archers can take out a villager in one volley if they're on point. Okay, and this was kind of weird. So he garrisoned all his villagers, but didn't shoot at me? And then, finally a bit of action starts up. Vortigern sends men-at-arms into my base. Yeah, not sure you were thinking there, buddy. And I just chew them up because okay, it's like, there has got to someday be a safety instruction video someday detailing Villager Safety 101 or something like that, Villager Safety 101. When you see the enemy come, learn the 3 basic steps of survival. Stop, run, and shoot. Just remember, stop, run, and shoot whenever you see someone of the other team's color, and you will be okay. Something like that. Wouldn't that be... I don't know who'd do something like that. Resonance. Resonance would be good for that, don't you think? Resonance 88 would be perfect for such a PSA. Honestly, really the thing that's different between this and the HD version that's significant, aside from, the changes that are corrected in the Conqueror's version, as opposed to being corrected within the Age of Kings itself, the big significant one is just the town centers. And the really, really stupid AI here. But I thought the town centers bit was interesting. The other one, you might have noticed, is the fact that the music is all MIDI based. It's not an MP3 file like it is on the CD versions or the HD edition. It's MIDI, and you can occasionally see how between tracks the game kinda jumps as it loads the next MIDI track. It's a little annoying, but I must say I always liked customizing the MIDI files that would play during a game when I was about the time that this released, maybe a few years after when I began playing. And I looked for the ability to reproduce that in the full version, and I did find it on the Age of Kings Heaven Blacksmith once. It's not so interesting to me nowadays. It's kind of interesting. But then again, who listens to MIDI? Come on, there we go. Now we're shooting that villager. There you go. Man, it's like they know nothing about tactics. Yeah, sure, just run right into him. That's a good way to make sure that he's dead. Another weird thing about the Age of Kings, or at least the demo, the siege weapons kind of have a weird AI. They don't like to... For some reason, if you target a very distant building, they don't always like to go to it. And I found myself having to kind of direct the battering rams here towards, in the direction of the town center, but not actually at it. And then when I got close, then I could send them over to it. It was kind of weird, but it's a demo. Of course it's going to be a bit weird. Well, there's another 12 minutes left in this match. There's not a whole lot of action that happens after this point. No water is ever fought over. I've taken down my biggest enemy's town center, so it's really just a matter of time. Just one little thing I'd like to say before I get quite to the end of it. I do want to applaud the little monk there. Go, monk, go! For just going and collecting those relics like a real trooper out there. He's such a strong character, isn't he? Beautiful man. God love you. You really are a servant of God going collecting those relics. Brings a tear to my eye. And a bit of drip it to my nose. Okay, so I do think it's fair that I show you me crushing the last guy's town center as well. Richard the Lionheart's town center. Yeah. I should at least show you that, because, well, it's kind of important after all, taking a guy's whole age advancement and villager production. Yeah, that's kind of important. And you'll see, yeah, he's not trying to get rid of the rams. I think he knows he can't by this point. He doesn't even try and save it. The AI is just dense. So, yeah, I've picked off most of his villagers at this point, and I've destroyed his town center, so I'm just trying to wipe everything up at this point. I was almost afraid that, in fact, the AI won't resign, like in Age of Empires, the original one. So I decided, alright, they're gonna make this as difficult as possible. So instead of just boring myself for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to build some cavalry and just go out and look for things and shoot at them. Slice them into tiny, tiny pieces. So I built a stable. Because I was just tired and I did not want to continue playing the waiting game. And I knew these guys are toast. So let's stop playing. Instead, yeah, I didn't even bother. I had to clear out some of the other units that I'd made. You know, some of the overflow that you get when you build up and suddenly realize that you don't actually need reinforcements because you have no casualties because your enemy's pathetic. I just had to, yeah, do that, and then I decided, well, since town centers are only 175 wood, why not take those deer and those berry bushes? I still couldn't find the last relic. I figured, okay, if I can't find my enemy, maybe I can find that relic. And I sent that expeditious little monk back out into the wilderness and just killed time until I could get some horsies out and go and wreak havoc and destruction on the few remaining survivors. Yeah, about as boring as it sounds. But after fashion, mop up can be kind of fun. 4 nights is really all I need at this point. It's not like anyone. I did decide to get armor. Probably didn't need that. Probably should have gone for forging instead. Looks like I didn't get it actually. Oh, that makes more sense than I thought. Not really any point to reseeding farms or anything like that, but, you know, I want to keep everyone busy.
Correctus. Bulden.
Don't want villagers to have existential crises or anything like that, you know.
Bulden.
I'm not farming anymore. What is my life? What's the point of it? Do I just stand around here boring and develop psychological and mental and physical illnesses and maybe even data rot? Oh, okay, and it looks like this guy did finally. He's not going to have any complexes anytime soon though, because he actually found his objective, which was a relic. So I figure, if I take this back, hey, maybe I can get a relic victory if I can't do anything else.
Estora. Bulden.
I figured I'll have to defeat everything on the water too if I want to win, and
Bulden.
can't be arsed. Can't be arsed. I won the land. You are not going to beat me just by sitting out in the sea. I'm not gonna. I will not permit it. I would much rather get a relic victory. I actually would have liked a wonder victory, because the British wonder is quite nice. It's really actually the French wonder. There's actually some information that came out that the French wonder is actually what originally was the Gothic wonder, St. Vitus Cathedral, I think, something like that. And not Chartres, was it Chartres Cathedral? Is what the British wonder is. I don't remember why exactly they shuffled it that way, but they did. Okay, and there we go. That's the end of the game. I just had to, yeah, it looks like they do actually resign, but not as neatly and tightly as in Age of Empires 3, which I like a little more. But as you can see, and I'll show all the statistics here, I just quashed it. They didn't come close. Vortigern didn't. I had a pretendous amount of just everything over and above them. I advanced faster, I had more resources, I got a better KD ratio, I had more... yeah. This demo scenario is just completely easy. But it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And if you want to try it out, it's still available. If you don't, I don't blame you, because it's not that different, but it is kind of interesting and kind of a kickback. So, without further ado, thank you very much for watching. This has been Badgerlord Patrick, and maybe I will play some Age of Empires 2 HD proper. That's something I want to test in the future. But God love you, and thank you again for watching. Peace.